So, Marquette calls Candace Owens a white supremacist puppet? Coming right up. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Common Sense Logical Reason. And as always, I want to say thank y'all for joining me today. So, I want to talk about Marquette, right? Also known as the Saint and the Sinner, but I believe now he just goes by the Saint. But he's a popular YouTuber, also self-proclaimed, successful businessman. I've talked about him before. He says a lot of things that I like. Heard him say things that I like. I also have heard him say things that I don't like. Most notably, this damn black victimhood. As y'all know, I don't accept any black victimhood from any black people. There's absolutely no reason whatsoever for any black person to be crying about no white supremacy in 2025. That's BS. Well, unfortunately, he pushes that nonsense. Anyway, he commented on basically the interview that Candace Owens did with Nick Fuentes.
No, look, sometimes we have racist feelings. Racist feelings like I want to live in a white neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to live in a black neighborhood. If they're all like you, obviously it'd be a different story. But when we think of a black neighborhood.
When he says, if they were all like you, it'd be a different story. By like Candace Owens, do you mean like they hate black people and they marry white people and then they pretend to just be like duplicates of white people in blackface? Is that what you mean? Is that what you mean? Interesting.
Okay, first of all, I'm going to start off by saying you should judge what a person says based off the merit of what they say, not based off of how you feel about that person. This is something that's typical with leftists. They'll judge what you say based off of if they like you a lot. If they like you, they'll take anything that you say and they try to figure out, justify it some way how it's right. Or if they don't like you, they'll figure out some type of way to justify where it's wrong. And this is basically what's being done with Nick Fuentes here. Essentially what he said is he doesn't want to live around blacks, but he would mind living around a black person like Candace Owens. And you know what? I agree 100%, and I agree. I would say the exact same thing. I would say the exact same thing, and I have said the exact same thing. Now the thing about it is that most black people would also say the same. Of course, it'll be behind closed doors. They won't say it out in the open because to most blacks with the black brainwashing, race supersedes everything. So if it's the issue of dealing with culture and the issue of race, they're going to lean to the race first because, again, they've been brainwashed by race. As I've said, the typical black person in the United States of America has been brainwashed by the big lie narrative. They've been told the lie big enough and long enough and loud enough that America's a racist country that they believe it, with no evidence to support it. So they're so brainwashed with it, being indoctrinated from the time that they were born to the time they turned an adult, have been so indoctrinated into that nonsense that they believe it. So whenever they hear race, they turn into mindless zombies. I've always said that when race starts with black folk, when race starts, brains stop. And many race hustlers like Marquette here plays upon that. So now the question I would have for Marquette is, where does he live? Does Marquette live in the hood? Now he says that he's from the hood, he grew up in the hood, but does he live in the hood now? Because most black people, it's typically a thing when they get money, they get away from the hood, and nobody gets away from their hoods more when they get money than black people. Nobody does this more than black people, and for obvious reasons. It's because of the mentality of the people that's in the hood. Ice Cube tried that. I've said this before. When Ice Cube became famous after NWA, when he became a famous rapper, he wanted to stay in the hood. He wanted to be down, wanted to be in the hood, but he had to leave because black folks kept robbing him. Ninjas kept robbing his house, so he had to leave. And I seriously doubt that Marquette is living around him. And I'm willing to bet that the people that Marquette is living around is more like Candace Owens than a bunch of niggas and ratchet hoes. Now, if I'm wrong, if he stays in the hood, he's determined to live in that hood, then I will retract that. But I seriously doubt that he does. Like I said, I guarantee you this. If we were to go to where he stays, the majority of people, regardless of what color they are, is like Candace Owens, as opposed to more like Candace Owens than Sexy Red. Anyway, y'all, that's my 2 cents on this. Marquette is the dude's being dishonest here, and he's just perpetuating race. One of the reasons why, again, I can't stand these race hustlers, because all they do is perpetuate this race nonsense. He knows what this man said is 100% right, and a lot of the black folks who will get upset and rage over what Nick said, but in reality, they'll get upset over his words, but then they'll do exactly what Nick said and get away from black folks as soon as they can. Anyway, y'all, as always, until next time.